Easy go.
Alright folks, welcome to the channel. We're here today to do an unboxing of the Lian Li PC011 Dynamic White version. I've heard a lot of reviews about this and I wanted it on my personal rig. So we're going to do an unboxing, review, and also a build inside this, doing a budget mid-range build. I will put links to all the parts I've used in the description, and let's get started. Alright, now, here we go. Let's move this to the ground. Okay, now from initial views of this case, it is very nice. You have a front glass panel, side glass panel, with no thumb screws or Allen hex head screws to obstruct the view. You have clean lines, flush all the way down. And the way a Lian Li does this is by a hook design, which I will demonstrate now. In order to get into this case, though, you have two thumb screws in the back, which you undo, and they're stop protected, so you don't have to worry about pulling them all the way out. And the top slides off, comes across. Then they provide you a wonderful magnetic dust filter, which is great. I love those in all my cases. The front slides up and out, and with these right here are the little hooks I was telling you about, and you see the little spots inside of it. And if you look down here, it slides right into those grooves and locks into place. Both sides do this, even the back. If you come around to the back of the case, same thing. Slide up and out to access your rear I/O area. And also to mention, you have magnetic dust filters back here on both sides. This case comes with a total of 4 magnetic dust filters. 1 on the top, 2 in your back panel, and 1 underneath. Now this case was originally designed for water-cooled systems, but that does not mean that there's restricted airflow in this by any means. You can put up to 3 120mm fans in the top, 3 120mm fans in the back right here for a push or pull configuration, your choice, and on the bottom you can fit 3 more 120mm. So there's plenty of room for airflow in this case. And as you can see here, you have a spot right here for your power supply in the back. One good thing about Lian Li is they do a dual chamber design where all your stuff is in the back to keep your front from getting obstructed by anything. It leaves a nice, clean looking design. Here you have your drive bay, which could be removed, and in return you could put a second power supply unit in here. Now, those are for extreme overclockers who need the extra power. Other than that, you could fit your 3.5-inch hard drives in here. And in here is where you do all your cable management. And I love the fact of how they designed this. 2 thumb screws for the plate. And I'll pick that up later. And it just slides right out. Oh, guess not. It actually has a small screw. Take out the small Phillips head screw, and your rear cable management tray comes right out. And you have all this access right here for cable management. And you just put this right back in, and you thumb screw it back, and you are good to go. Which is a neat and new innovative way to hide cable management, which I personally am going to love, because I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to cable management, I am not the greatest. I don't claim to be, nor will I probably ever be, but I like the simplicity of this for those like me. But like I said in the beginning, it does provide the dual chamber design, so you have a complete access in the case. Now, it does provide you 2 SSD trays in the front right here, which you will probably not use because you can actually change those out and put in your water cooling or your fans. Your choice. It is really up to your imagination, can go wild in this case. They also provide, for an extra $60 if you so choose, the option to do a vertical GPU, which I don't do because I'm not fond of that, but some people like it. But all in all, this case is a really nice case to look to build in. Plenty of room, and the dual chamber design is by far one of the best designs I've ever seen. So, without further ado, let's get to showing you the products that are going into this. And welcome back. Okay, here we have the parts laid out on the table of what's going into the build. Here for the motherboard we have the Gigabyte Z370 XP SLI edition. I picked this board because it is by far the best bang for the buck for a budget to mid-range gaming PC. Not only does it provide SLI or 3-way crossfire, it also has 2 M.2 slots, one here and one here. It also supports onboard LEDs, 2 USB 3.0s, and pretty much everything that you could want. It's an Intel board, supports up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm currently put in there an Intel i5 8400. And to combine this motherboard, I'm going with 6 case fans up here, RGB, because I like to be able to choose my lighting. For RAM, I have RGB silver, which is very good RAM. The actual name brand of it, I'm going to post in the link description. I got it off of Amazon. Very nice RAM, RGB DDR4 3200 megahertz. So very decent RAM for this computer. Very low budget style. For the graphics, we're using a GTX 1060 from Gigabyte, 3 gig version. which is good for a low to mid-range budget PC. Here we have the Thermaltake Smart RGB 500 watt with the RGB fan built in for some more added RGB. For the storage, we just have a regular Seagate Barracuda 7200 RPM 2TB drive, which I have partitioned for a little bit for the Windows and the rest for storage, because I cannot afford an SSD right now. And for CPU cooling, we have the UpHere 120mm cooler with push-pull configuration. Very wonderful cooler. It's got the copper all the way through. With this cooler on full load, my CPU usually ran about 74 degrees Celsius, which is not very bad for being an air cooler. Now, let's see how all of this looks inside that. And let's start with the motherboard. First, let's double check to see if all our standoffs line up, because some come with standoffs in multiple areas, but we need to make sure that they are all going to line up to where we need. And from what I see, all the standoffs line up perfectly. So let's put this off to the side and pop in our I/O shield. Alright, place them on the board. Alright. And as you can see, another reason why I picked this motherboard is for the white and black. Going with a white and black theme here with the RGB lighting. There we go. And there it is. Now next, we're going to put on the CPU cooler. Now for that, I prefer MX4 by Arctic. Now there's a lot of controversy on how much and how to put it on. Too much can cause unbalanced thermals, too little can cause unbalanced thermals. And there's a controversy on how to apply it, whether it's the X method, the P method, or to put it in and smear it around method. I prefer the P method because if done properly, it'll spread itself. As you can see here, nice pea size little bit, and that's all you need. With that little bit, you get the correct thermals needed. Now, let's apply the fan. The way this fan is, you have these cables to power the fan and RGBs. And you have the push-pull configuration. So, as for me, I prefer to have it like this, to where it pushes from the pulls from the front and pushes out the back. And just apply it on top. That's all she wrote. Okay. Now here you have your cables, RGB and fan alike. But this comes with a cable module. With the cable module, it will go to your CPU fan header on your board. Let's just put that to the side next. And now we're going to grab our DDR4 RGB RAM. Here you have DIMM 1, DIMM 2, DIMM 3, and DIMM 4. Well, actually the way it goes is DIMM 1, DIMM 3, DIMM 2, and DIMM 4. Since I'm only using two 8 gig sticks, I want it on DIMM 1 and DIMM 2, which is clearly marked on the board. And I like to work from left to right when it comes to that. It's just easier in my opinion. Just push it in till it snaps. There's one. And there's the other. Simple as can be. Now, the next step, I prefer to go ahead and let's mount the GPU, shall we? Which we're going to take out the white and then the black. Now, one good thing about Lian Li compared to some other brands is the fact that they put reusable, and the reusable is just so much better in my opinion. A lot of budget cases are very friendly and price wise, but once you take out these pieces, they break out, and if you want to get rid of the unsightly hole, you have to purchase more to reseal it. But when you get to the cases around, I'd say $70 and above, you don't have that problem. But now there is some, like I've recently tried the Game Deus, I believe it's called. Hope I'm saying that right. And that was a $120 case. And yet the backs were breakable. Now why on a $120 case would you put breakable backs instead of reusable backs eludes me. But I don't get paid to think. And honestly, I don't get paid to do this at all. This is just a hobby of mine. From a passionate person. I love building computers. I love technical stuff. And just always been a hobby of mine. First computer I ever broke into was a Windows 3.11. Now, some of y'all might not know what that is. But that came before all these CD drives and everything. That was back when floppy disks were a thing. So, alright, let's lift this up. And let's go ahead and install our power supply. Now here, the power supply, it just slides right on in. Let's go ahead and take out our cable management tray. Slide that off to the side for now. And bring in our wonderful, beautiful power supply. And with power supply, it's already got a support bracket, unlike some. It just slides right on in, just like that. And you screw it down. And see, some people are intimidated by building your own PC. But there's no sense in being that. It's by far one of the easiest things and one of the most proudful things you can do than to have some beautiful PC that you know that you've built and you can show off to your friends and say, yes, that's not store-bought. And one good thing about not buying a store-bought pre-built system is that you know exactly what parts you went in here. You know exactly the name brand, the style part. Not to mention you have a warranty on each and every part by the manufacturer. For any reason one should fail on you. That's another good reason. Price point wise, yes, depending on the parts you buy, it is cheaper to build your own. Like, when it's all said and done, I will give you a lowdown. I believe for all my parts together, I was right around $850 for this. But, like I said, this is more of a mid-budget. I kind of went a little higher, because I could have went with a cheaper case. I could have went with a cheaper motherboard, a cheaper processor, to achieve the same performance that I'm wanting. But the case, I saw this case, and I love the dual chamber design. So yes, I forked out the extra money for this. And I could have went with a 1050 Ti or a 1050 and achieved 30 to 40 frames at 1080p high settings on any game. But I wanted to future-proof this for future referencing. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little cable management off screen, and then we'll come back when I'm finished. Alright, and now we're back. Now we're putting in our bottom case fans. And just like any normal case fan, you set it in place and you torque down the screws. And we'll do this for a total of 6 fans. Now here I got to make sure that they are positioned the right way, because one way sucks air, one way pushes air. We just have to make sure that they are the right orientation. Last bottom fan. Now, eventually I will be putting rads in here for the water-cooled loop. Just haven't decided which style I want to go. Whether if I want to go soft tubing or hard tubing. I've never done a custom water-cool yet. I've always done a closed loop, all-in-one system that you buy. Whether it's from Corsair, up here, or any of the other name brands or cheaper brands. I've always done the already all-in-one closed loops. I've never done a custom. So that will be something for a video, I'm thinking, on my very first custom loop, whether it's soft pipe or hard pipe. And as you see here, 3 fans installed. Now it's time to jump to the back fans. And let's begin. Now these, I know, I want them to draw air in the back to push against the glass and force air towards everything. So here I have to position them this way. Now these are just some random fans I had laying around. So if they do not match or are not able to sync up to the same style, well, that's okay, because it's supposed to be your own style. It's not supposed to be just like everybody else's fans or everybody else's case, sort of matter. But we'll see when it's all said and done, and we'll boot her up how she looks. I would actually like to get all 9 fans in here, 3 here, 3 up top, and 3 in the back, of all the same brand, so that they could sync up together, which would be very, very nice in this kind of case. But that'll be at our later date. Alrighty, and this one. Another good thing to note is that this channel will be built by you. You tell me what you want to see. Now this will be primarily a gaming channel and a tech channel, whether it's an unboxing, a review, or any other thing that we can come up with. Now, if you want to talk about real life things or other things, that's fine with me. You tell me what content you want to see. Because in the end, it's all about you. It's all about what you want. As far as this gaming build, I was doing it anyway, so I figured I'd share in the experience with you. For those who have not yet got to experience this case, or those who aren't too positive on how to build a PC. They're very, very easy. There's many videos out there, and they're all pretty much the same, teaching you how to install the motherboards, how to properly install CPUs, RAM sticks, whole 9 yards. But you can watch a dime a dozen of them and you'll never know exactly the feel until you do it yourself. There's no greater experience than doing it yourself. Alright, now that those are installed, here, nothing looks horrible. Let's take off the thumb screws for the cable management cover. As you can see, there's my cables. All tied nice and neatly. I have my control module here for 3 fans, control module back here for 3 fans. Then all my cables that I don't need can safe tuckly up here, away, and you still have room for tons more cables if you need. But there's no need. And another thing to mention is on this back plate, you could fit a 3-inch drive or a 2.5-inch drive here, and another 2.5-inch drive here. See, the options are far from limited with this case. Very far. And this just goes back into place. And right over. It's not even pushing against the wires. The wires are safely tucked in there. I mean, this is by far one of the best case designs for cable management I have ever seen. I mean, it's almost, hate to say it, but it's almost completely idiot proof. As you see, everything's clean in here. I got my drive bay with my hard drives. Got my power supply, and everything is neatly ran, and just beautiful the way this case is designed. Now, let's button her up and hook her up. Alright, and we're back. Moment of truth, guys. Here we go. And I think it looks beautiful so far. The RGBs are a little different, and yet everything really coincides together. You can really feel the air being pushed out of the system. It's very, very good airflow. Okay, now let's go through the BIOS here. System, boot option 1 is great. Mouse speed, Windows 10 enabled, everything's good. Let's save and exit. Let's see how she does. And we're booting into Windows now. All in all, guys, what do you think? It's a very beautiful case. It's got a very good feel, and the angles of view is wonderful. For a case that has been designed for water cooling, the air cooling properties of this is amazing. I'm really loving this build. Now, y'all tell me in the comments what y'all think, and what y'all consider to be one of the best cases that y'all have found so far. And, well, until next time, people, this is Geomont saying, game on, brother.